Let's dive deeper into the three pillars across which Aspen is standardizing its operations for all of its offices. These can be divided into centralized patient intake and inquiry, centralized systems, offers and operating models, and a national people development and career path systems. So let's dive deeper into each of these pillars one by one. Let's start with centralized patient intake and inquiry handling. I want to break down something that Aspen did exceptionally well. If you're running a multi-location group, this one thing will change the future valuation of your entire organization. Are you ready for it? Aspen centralized patient intake and inquiry handling and turned that into scale, EBITDA, and valuation lift. Now, Aspen's at over 1,000 locations, millions of visits a year. You don't get there if every office is winging it on the phones, web leads, and new patient intake. So, pillar number one, that is the centralized intake and patient inquiry handling, is not a side note. It's essential. This is the front door of the Aspen model. And that front door is built on 6 deliberate decisions. Let's walk through them one by one, and I'll show you exactly how private equity loves this part. Okay, number one is one phone number, one inbox, one routing engine. Have you ever noticed that Aspen does not list 1,000 phone numbers? No, they just have one centralized number, something like 844, Aspen 11, or something along those lines. Why? Because those calls don't go to a random receptionist. They go into a corporate routing engine inside a centralized scheduling environment. Their job postings literally say it. Is scheduling center agents handle calls for hundreds of offices. So TAG controls the telephony, and these scheduling agents, they work in a remote environment. It's like a separate functional unit that is working in the background to support Aspen's entire growth model. TAG controls the telephony, ADMI controls the routing logic, and the local offices just receive booked calls and not the chaos. And here's why it matters. Most practices answer maybe 65 to 75% of all patient calls. And of the calls that they do answer, maybe only half of them convert. Most groups convert anywhere around 25 to 40% of new patient opportunities. Aspen attacks that leak with centralization, better staffing, better load balancing, fewer missed calls, KPIs that are meant to identify the leaks and coach people on them so that next time there's an improvement and there's little less lag and fewer leaks. Aspen publicly uses Invoca, which is an AI-powered call tracking and conversation engine. It sits on top of their cloud telephony and categorizes the calls at scale, which means standardized front door, there's less friction, there's better yield per marketing dollar, and there's higher valuation because intake is predictable. Okay, next, what happens after the call hits? Aspen does not let each office schedule on its own. They run a central scheduling center that is staffed by trained agents. Those agents follow the same playbook. They qualify the caller. They're trained appointment setters. They check availability across multiple locations. They book directly into their schedule. And Invoca's AI does automatic classification. For example, it classifies each coming call into whether it's a new patient or an existing one, whether the appointment was booked or lost, whether it's clinical or is it non-clinical, whether it's related to insurance or pricing, what is the campaign source. And most private practices convert anywhere around 23 to 40% of new patient calls, but Aspen's centralized model pushes that into around 75 to 85% booked call band range. That's a commercial engine. And why private equity loves it? Because this is not an overhead. This is a margin expanding shared service, something you can drop on top of any acquisition. Let's talk about the actual conversation patients here. Aspen runs on the philosophy of Aspen One, meaning the first touch sounds the same anywhere in the country. It's the same structure, same insurance questions, same way they handle emergencies. And here's the data. ADN call conversion studies show that scripting moves new patient conversations anywhere from the 20s to the 70s to the 90s band. But scripting does not matter if the compliance is not measured. That's where Invoca comes in again. So Invoca detects missing phrases like, yes, we can see you this week, or yes, we accept this insurance, or we have financing options available. Scripts lead to codified behavior, and codified behavior leads to predictable revenue, and predictable revenue leads to higher multiples. The fourth is quality assurance and compliance. Most practices still do quality assurance by listening to calls, like 5 calls a month. They set a benchmark, they pick random calls every week or every month. They listen to them manually and then audit them. But at Aspen, they analyze basically every call. Invoca's AI tells them what happened, what did not happen, what should have been booked, what could not be booked, which coordinators are underperforming. The human coaches then review edge cases, and regional managers, they get performance dashboards. This is quality control at scale, and it leads to lower risk. There's cleaner integration for acquisitions. There's better consistency across the portfolio. And this is where the private equity assesses your valuation and gives you a better multiple. The lead to appointment tracking per office. Aspen does not stop at calls answered. They track every call. They track the calls per office. They track bookings per coordinator. They track the call outcomes, the marketing source, the revenue path, the missed opportunities. Invoca's dashboards connect the entire chain. Which marketing led to which phone calls and leads, which of the leads were converted into appointments, and which of the appointments converted into production or revenue. This gives Aspen the economics at the office level, which is everything that private equity firms care about. Because now you can see which offices are performing, which are lagging, which need training, which need systems, and which are the ones that need operational help. You're operating like a platform. You're not operating like a collection of offices. Aspen takes intake out of the offices and makes it a shared, centralized capability. This is why Aspen commands a platform multiple. And the final piece, location independent offices, which means a patient calling about an office in Florida gets the same intake experience as somebody calling about Washington. It's the same script, same routing logic, same QA standards, same scheduling rules. Most DSOs break right here because each office has its own phone habits, its own intake process, its own scheduling protocols, its own follow-up processes. Aspen takes intake out of the offices and makes it a shared, centralized capability. This is why Aspen commands a platform multiple. It's not randomness, it's architecture. Now let's bring the entire thing back to the process flows: standardization, efficiency, yield, valuation, EBITDA and valuation. Because Aspen standardized the front door, efficiency became automatic. Yield per office increased, EBITDA expanded, and the valuation lifted. This is textbook private equity scalability. So if you're running a 5, 10, 15, or even a 20 location group and you want Aspen style valuation, then centralized patient scheduling and intake is not optional. It's your first systems project that you need to implement. And here's the exact roadmap you can use. Unify the front desk. Start with one number, one inbox, one website form. Centralize the intake. Maybe you start with even a 2-person remote team that's taking all the calls, all the patient inflow. Use AI call intelligence such as Invoca or even PeerLogic. Script the first touch and then use quality assurance to make sure there's compliance. Everybody is using the same scripts. Track by office and coordinator and see which office and which coordinators are leading to better yield, where are the leaks, and what are the workflows or roadmaps that can be implemented across every office. Centralized communication, not dentistry. Do this and intake stops being whoever answered the phone. It becomes predictable. It becomes your growth engine. That's exactly how Aspen did it. And that's what turns a multi-location group into a platform private equity wants to underwrite.